Heather, oh, what do you mean? Whoops. I'm not approved.
Oh, snap.
Whatever. LinkedIn says we're not approved, Matt. I don't know what that means.
I'm not sure about that. Yeah.
Are we live on the other? Oh, we're live right now.
Yeah, we're live.
All right. LinkedIn. We don't need LinkedIn. So, guys, welcome to the show. This is the F5 report. We were trying to be live at 8 a.m. this morning, and we had some technical difficulties. So we are going to go ahead and try this again on our new platform. And it looks like we're connected. I see we have live viewers. If you guys are checking in right now, go ahead and tell us in the comments where you're checking in from. I know we got viewers all around the country. If you're watching this thing right now, just tell us where you're from, what state, what area, what location, what the nickname is. I don't know, whatever, right? Tell us where you're calling in from. We got a great show for you today. I'm super excited because, Heather, we've probably done less than 3 or 4 live videos since we started this whole game, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean, I would say under a handful of definite live videos, but lots of tagging and sharing of videos together.
Lots of tagging and sharing, just not a lot of live interaction, which I'm super excited about. So, guys, if you're following along, the F5 report, this is basically faith, family, fitness, friends, and finances. Every day, we're going to kind of pick a different topic. We're going to see, excuse me, I'm trying to work on this thing at the same time. We're going to talk about, how it's affecting us. This COVID-19 thing is crazy, obviously. It's really upended a lot of businesses, but I think it's also created a lot of what I'm finding is unfounded opportunity, right? Like realizing that we can go on this way. We can figure things out. We can get better. In fact, a lot of our problems that were around before, start to kind of disappear because we don't have the excuse of, daily life to put in front of us. So, what we're talking about here is trying to figure out topics that are going to help you benefit, help you get better, I know a lot of people are suffering in this thing right now, right? But, throw a little bit of guiding light out there and create a hand up for people that are having a hard time. So, today, Heather wants to talk about family, which I think is awesome. Heather has 2 beautiful young kids, and a husband, and an awesome family atmosphere that she's designed for herself. Plus, she's a kick-ass working mom who is out there, partner in Nest Complete Home Solutions, our brokerage business, as well as one of the top investor realtors in South Jersey. I mean, doing all fix and flip, and not all, but you do retail as well. But working with a lot of investors on their fix and flips, their new constructions, and deals like that. So Heather has a lot of insight. So without that whole background there, I'd like to welcome Heather Moore to the show. What's up, Heather?
Hi, thanks for having me today. It's super exciting to be on this with you. And I'm really pumped because I think you touched base with a lot of people are struggling at home and how to adapt and how to really stick with the routine, but maybe bend it a little bit and work with what you used to have, but, pump it out a little bit more and make it work for you right now and what you can do and control what you can control. Yeah. Because we all know I'm a little bit of a control freak, and not having all that control recently has kind of off-tilted you. And, it was last week, I think it was last week or something like that with the whole school thing. They threw Spanish at us, and I just threw in the towel. I'm like, forget it. I don't know Spanish. I can't figure out Spanish in a day or two. And I had a friend of mine just say, just let it go. They're like, just don't worry about it. Like, control what you control. You can't control that, and it's going to be okay. And I was just like, oh, you know what? They're absolutely right. I can't control that. There's nothing I can do about it right now, and it is going to be okay one way or the other. So I wanted to touch base on that and really
that. Control what you can control. People have been saying that a lot, but it's the truth, right? Like guys, we can't solve certain things right now. There's certain things that are uncontrollable, but at the flip side of that is there's certain things that are forcing us to make great decisions that we can control. And now we can start to put our focus on that. So let's talk more about the homeschooling piece, because I know there's a lot of moms and dads that are at home. They're trying to figure this piece out. They're starting to realize that there's pros and there's cons. And, right now I'm doing this video and I'm watching my kids. They're on their iPads sitting on the couch right now because there's no school going on. Otherwise they'd be doing school. What are some of the things that maybe you've learned from this whole process or, benefited from, and maybe some of the things that you're gaining inside your family life because of this?
Yeah. So the most thing I'm gaining is just really soaking in their amazing personalities. Never probably in our lifetime are we going to be able to be presented with this amount of time to be home with the ones you value and you treasure the most, the ones we grind for on a daily basis. So just being around them 24/7, literally, has just really opened up my eyes to, I'm doing okay. We're doing okay. I'm raising some good kids. I'm raising a wonderful husband as well. So
we know that. I know Pat's not going to watch this, so we can talk some more on it.
He did say he was interested. So really, it's more, week one happened, and like just boulders were thrown at all of us, and it's like everyone was so quick to react. What do I need to do? How do I set it up? How do I prep? So, naturally, a lot of moms and dads and parents in general were working on setting up the back end processes. What a struggle for so many people who aren't in our industries, who aren't used to working in platforms and doing all that, to dive in and now set up all these different platforms and get them teed up so they can set their kids up to succeed. Because really now the spotlight's really on the parents and the kids. So if they're not falling in line and doing the things they need to do, that's reflecting back on you. So just prepped on week one, got the platforms down, got the sources down. And it wasn't just me that was struggling. A lot of the teachers were struggling too, because they're not tech savvy, all of them, God bless everyone that is, but a lot of people aren't. So you had to have patience with that as well, knowing that they're also struggling. Everyone's struggling right now. And what a good way to unite everybody under one kind of just frantic umbrella, but we're all covering, we're all getting covered. So we set up those processes, and instead of our normal routine of let's wake up, ease into the day and watch our shows, drink our chocolate milk, and eat our cereal, and then off to school, we drop you off, and then I run off to the office. So we kept with that, just the first hour of the day of just easing into it. And then instead of dropping them off to school, we just kept kind of with as much as the routine as we normally would, but we just picked a room in our house. Now I have 2 little ones, so it's really hard to do both of their schoolwork at the same time. So I had to break them up as well. Both of them are incredibly, wonderfully amazing personalities, but they are challenged in their academics. So they need really a lot of one-on-one help, assistance with that. So I would then take Miles, my son, first, and we would sit for an hour and a half or 2 hours, and we would just go through his routine and his work and his paperwork. We'd make sure it was submitted. We make sure we took our time. What I noticed was my son, who couldn't write in a straight line, who was just going up and down and all that fun stuff, now somehow was taking his time, starting to write in a straight line. And
that's awesome.
So it was like more so having that one-on-one with him and learning where he needs to learn and grow. And also teaching mom patience as we're going through it. But when he was done, then I would swap out and I would bring Bailey down, and then she would do her classes. Now, Bailey had struggled with math like crazy. So math was like one of those rolling things that we would tend to save towards the end of the day. The last subject that we would touch base on. And by then she's just melting and she's just frustrated and all that. So it's really finding the routine that works for them too. It wasn't just what works for me, what works for my husband. It's more so what also worked for my children, because they're a big part of this. So I asked her, would you rather do math first and get that done and get that off your plate first? And she said, yes. So, okay, we're going to switch this routine again. So then we started with the math first, and believe it or not, she started excelling in it, loving it, was excited to do it first. Fractions galore. She loves her fractions. But it helped her get over that anxiety, because kids, believe it or not, they're having a ton of anxiety going on. They're maybe just not being able to voice it, and it's in their actions that you can see their anxieties coming through.
I don't know about you, but I've noticed actually, because my kids have anxiety as well. I've noticed that actually there's kind of a benefit to some of this, which is like, again, we're spending time interacting. We're spending time I'm watching the stuff that gives her anxiety. Like Addison, for example, math is like, she's great at math, by the way, just hates doing it. Right.
Yeah.
So like I'm watching how she starts to boil over during that process. And now I'm learning to engage in helping her not. It's funny because I think a lot of us as parents haven't been able to see that side of things because we're as much as we are engaged with their schooling and their teachers and follow up and everything, we're not watching it. We're not in the classroom all day, right? So now it's giving us this like other view of what really goes on at school.
It is. And it's also educating me a little bit as well, going through it. And I'm like, and I'm actually getting really into some of them. Like the other night was about the galaxies and the stars and the science and stuff for math. Well, last night, I mean, after the storm, there's always a clear sky. So the stars were gorgeous last night. And I called him in and I'm like, all right, Miles, what planet is that? And what star is this? And it's fun to bring back the things that I know that like we're teaching them and they're learning and that they're actually holding on to and retaining. So
it's amazing. We're getting time back. Like all that excuse of I'm too busy, I can't do it. I mean, yesterday I caught myself. My daughters asked me 20 times to push them on the swings, and I kept telling them no. I think they're also getting a realization that Daddy actually works. Believe it or not, I'm home all the time. But you tell them no a certain amount of time, then you're like, damn, do I really want to avoid pushing my kids on the swing? Like, what kind of asshole am I? Like, let me break for 10 minutes and go push my kids on the swing. So I think it's engaging for them, and it gives us an opportunity to engage with them that we probably otherwise wouldn't have. Let's face it, for most working adults, like you got that like 2-hour window of actually seeing your kids in the evening. And for the most part, a lot of us are, fighting to not be on our phones and taking calls, text messages, and I got to make dinner. It feels like everything just kind of went back to like Little House on the Prairie style in the last couple of weeks. And now it's like I'm free to engage with my kids, spend time with them, pay attention to them. By the way, if you guys are watching, we got a lot of live viewers right now. Post where you're calling in from, where you're watching from. What up to Mike from Dayton, Ohio, Kevin, Winnipeg, Canada, my boy Mark Evans, DM, boom, he says. Paul D, love the logo. Appreciate you guys watching. Questions, thoughts, anything you guys have that maybe you want to talk to Heather. Again, busy, working mom, 2 kids, a husband, so really 3 kids, running a life. And by the way, being a freaking rock star in the meantime, we don't even have to get into the business end, but I mean, Heather, you've had your best 3 weeks in real estate, I think, ever.
I mean, it's always when the going gets tough, we just got to get tougher and bear down and focus on, as a great mentor once said, that low hanging fruit. What do I have that I can get off my plate today, and what can I clear off, and what can I work with that I already had in the past? It's hard right now, especially in the real estate, and I'm going to just dive into it just a tad bit, where people aren't welcoming people into their home so much. So, it's really shutting down the whole listing process side a hair for me. So I realize that people are scared. They don't want to do that right now. But what you can do is work on that relationship, that bond, make that stronger. Let them know you're thinking about them. And when we are allowed to go out into the world again, I'm going to be the first one knocking on their door. And we're going to keep that relationship going. It's just simple touches throughout the week of touching base with your clients that you have signed up, some that are not signed up as of yet, but just saying, hey, just thinking about you. How are you making out? Is everybody well? It's just very quick to the point, and it's letting them know that you're thinking of them and you're excited, and you're going to keep it going for them. I'm stockpiling buyers for listings that I have that I know are coming to the market. Right before it did hit the fan, I had a listing that was coming soon. I had everything all signed up. And unfortunately, one of my other buyers that I was working with, their contract fell through because the sellers didn't want to move anymore. They didn't know what was going on with the economy. They didn't want to do that to themselves. So I took that opportunity and said, well, you know what? Let's just bring you over real quick before everything gets locked down over to this other home that I know I'm going to be having soon. And they love the home. So able to recover from a loss and turn it into a double win. Yeah. So it's focusing on what you can have, what you have in your pipe, and working the relationships that you've had in the past.
It's like the irony, right, of we are forced to social distance, but it's giving us the opportunity to connect more than we ever had before, right? I mean, I don't know about you. I'm on Zoom 15 times a day. I'm calling prospective investors and clients and people that we've done business with in the past. I've been talking to a lot of wholesale buyers buying off market deals. Like, I think that again, that force to slow down is like, I don't have to drive back and forth. I don't have to, do all these crazy busy things. I'm forced to do the things that are important. And what you're saying is, guys, be proactive in this time, because you can build that pipe so that I'm downstairs from the rock star watching with the family. Great job. Patrick chiming in. No, I mean, look, having that ability, and guys, if you're just checking in with us, post in the comments where you're calling in from, where you're watching from. I'd like to actually potentially bring somebody on live here in a minute. I'm not sure if we can do that. I got to talk to our boy Matt and find out if that's possible. But if you guys have questions or thoughts or comments or anything, again, busy working mom of 2 kids and a husband, runs a real estate company, crushing deals in this downturn still. And so if any questions you guys have to ask, please post them in the comments. We'll drop them in here and we'll try to get them answered for you. But the dichotomy, right? I digress. Going back to, we can't be around each other, but we can still build great relationships, right? Like, this thing is going to pass, right? So starting to almost like build a savings account of relationships and starting to nurture that and water those relationships and have conversations with people, because inevitably they're all going to be sitting on the sidelines ready to jump as soon as somebody lifts the checkered flag, the red flag, the green flag. What starts the race? I forget. I think it's the green flag, right? They're all going to
I'll just listen for the trumpets.
Yeah, exactly. I think we're all listening for the trumpets, but I think a lot of people obviously don't want to be premature to that, going out and potentially, making this thing worse than it is, right? But so talk to me a little bit more about, you started talking about scheduling and creating good structure. And I know to do all the things that you've done, you have to have structure. What has changed in the structure inside of within the house, within the 4 walls that you're confined to?
So it's just more so like moving things around. We all keep to our own spaces. My kids know that mommy and daddy still have full-time jobs, that we're working. So it's important that we stay focused when we are online. Now, I want to applaud my children for when they see me on the phone. Beforehand, it would just be like a fire going off in the background and you would hear things. Right now, they've adjusted to that. They know when they see me or hear me on the phone that they have to back out quietly and know that I'll come find them after I'm done. And that's the key, parents. You got to go find them after you're done. Otherwise, they're going to keep coming back. But really, it's like my husband, he's doing a lot from home as well. So he's kind of just taken over our dining room table, which is his new office. He has a crazy job that he has to stay on top of. And so we give him that space. And then homeschooling will go down into the living room where he's separate, we're separate. And that's where that space goes there. Once we're all done, like I said, it's really just moving things around on the schedule that I already had. Is really, we grind from like 9:30 to probably around 2 before all school is out. And then I come upstairs and then start to do my job and follow up with my agents and follow up with the buyers and the sellers, get some updates on what's going on with the market, checking in on the market, new activity, and really just making sure I'm aware of what's happening around me. So not only so I know, but I can educate my agents in the office as well, educate my sellers and educate my buyers as to what's going on with everything. But as every home does, and no real estate puns in here, but you have to have a really incredibly strong foundation where you're at. And the foundation of every family is the parents. If you're, God bless the single parents right now. I got to tell you that. God bless you. It is not easy. I couldn't imagine having to do it alone. So I do thank the heavens and the stars that I have my husband with me to kind of work through and weather the storm with while we're doing that. But that's where it begins. You have to have that strong bond between the both of you. Because your children are literally right there watching. They're seeing how you're interacting with each other. They're seeing if you're getting frustrated. They see if you want to hug each other. And it's funny to do that more often because they don't get to see that so often at home. I don't know why, but if they walk in and they see mommy and daddy hugging, they're like, hey, knock it off. Get out of here, and they get to see that. But now they're joining in on the hug. So it's really, to me, it's important above most of everything is to make sure my husband's happy.
Yeah.
Because if he's not happy, I'm not happy. If he's not happy, I'm not happy. My kids aren't happy. And it's really just a domino effect. So we have to make sure that we're really continuing to work on our bond together. And it's by doing like stupid quizzes or asking funny questions. But
yeah,
it's making sure that he knows I appreciate you. I value you. I'm going to make you laugh a lot today till you're crying. And thank you for putting up with me as well. So, I mean, it's a lot to handle, but you definitely have to have that incredibly strong bond. You still have to date right now.
Yeah.
You still have to have your date nights for sure. We make sure we carve out time for ourselves every single day, no matter what. We'll make sure the kids are cleaned, the beds, get made in the morning. So that's already done. But we'll cook them dinner, and they'll eat their dinner, and we'll clean off, they'll have their dessert. But come around 7 o'clock, it's now mommy and daddy time. So they know now they have to go back upstairs, and they can play on their iPads. They can talk to their friends. They can play with each other if they want. But downstairs, it's now mommy and daddy time, because we need to now reconnect, and we need to regroup, and we need to make sure, like, hey, how's your head? Are you good? What's going on in your work world? And we share and we exchange. But it's protected time for us, just like I protect time for them. We protect time for each other, which is a huge, huge part of it. And then we do the same thing with the kids. We make sure that, come 5:30, 6 o'clock, everything gets put down, and we're gonna spend some quality time with them, whether it's them riding their bikes outside, doing activities, some kind of activities. It's important to have them planned. Not everything planned out, but at least have something to go to, like a book, a guide. Like I have this right now where it's like, you can't quite see it, but it has all kinds of activities that I want to do with the kids.
I love that. That's a cheat sheet, right? I mean, that's a good idea. I think we have the same thing for takeout food right now, because we're trying to support different restaurants, but we argue over food. So it's like, let's get the list together. As soon as we're hungry, we'll figure it out. I think what you're saying is, and what's so important here is the doubling down on being proactive in a relationship, right? I think there's a lot of married couples right now that have realized after however long they've been married that, like, oh shit, no one ever said I had to spend this much time with this person, right? And they're like, but if you're not proactive about it, if you're not, you're going to have your fights. It could get worse and worse, right? Or it can get better and better, right? So being proactive about how you're going to handle those interactions, what's working in the relationship, what's not, figuring out how to get along with each other when you're literally stuck in a house 24 hours a day. I think it actually is going to create a lot of stronger relationships. I think it's also going to push some people apart, but I think it's going to help a lot of people become stronger, because they realize, well, holy shit, I married a pretty cool person.
Yeah. I can say that. I definitely did. I'm so happy, to have him back to my corner. He's, very supportive. He's a great father. He loves his kids hard, as every parent should, but we're not always so lucky, and not all of us are always blessed to have that in our lives. So it's good to see him flourish in those fields and those avenues as well. But you got to have a strong foundation is the bottom line. You definitely have to carve out that time for each other, carve out the family time. Carve out independent one-on-one times with your children. With Bailey, it's baking cookies on Easter. It's doing those little activities that make them, or slime. Oh my gosh, the slime.
Oh, they make the homemade slime, right?
So much slime, like all different times. Butter with slime, whipped slime. She's like the slime diva now. But she also then wants to go and deliver these little slime baggies that she makes off to her friends.
Yeah.
So it's cute to see them shine that way, but it's also making sure that they're okay. Like last night, that little bit of anxiety started to come out in her of, are we ever going to go back to school? And I can see these, it doesn't come too often, but when it comes out, you got to really kind of focus on it and hone in and make sure they understand that if we can go back to school, we're going to go back to school. If we are not going to go back to school, then we're not going to go back to school, and it's going to be okay. Whichever way it goes, we're going to be okay one way or the other.
Teaching them flexibility, right? Just teaching them how to be flexible in life. You again, control what you can control. Guys, if you're just watching us right now and you want to hop on, if you have any questions, we're talking family today. Specifically, if you have kids, relationships, husband and wife, what's going on, what's working, what's not working. What things have you maybe done in your life that are a little bit different? I mean, for example, I'm cooking more than I ever have. I love cooking, but man, I mean, I'm doubling down on that. I actually started baking cookies. I never baked a cookie in my life. By the way, I make goddamn good cookies. I'm just saying. So it's like we're starting to create different opportunities. I'm doing puzzles with the kids. The kids had this thing I think is pretty cool. Actually, somebody in our town developed this idea that they printed out these emoji things they stuck in the ground. And basically they went on, it's like a what do you call it? Treasure hunt or not?
Scavenger hunt.
Yeah, right. And a scavenger hunt. That's right. And so there's a list of, hey, there's this many emojis on this street. So what you got to do, you got kids that are walking, that are riding their bikes around town, looking for these emojis, driving around town. The other really cool thing that I think is happening in our town, and I hope it's happening in all towns because I think it's awesome, is these kids that are having birthdays right now. Right, that obviously can't have parties. We're having like these little mini car parades in Haddonfield. So 3 times in the last week, I've had to hop in the car, run out, sign on the side of the car, beep in, playing loud music, going past their house. And I think it's really cool because it's got a lot of community piece to it, which I think is beneficial.
I love the random chalk art that people have been like, they've been going down to their friend's house and they've been writing little messages out front of their friend's home so they can see that.
Yep.
One other really cool family thing that I actually haven't done yet, but I definitely want to do is interviewing your family. It's writing out a list of questions and FaceTiming the grandparents, the aunts, the uncles, get the whole entire family involved.
Love it.
And run through those questions. Now's the best time to get to know your family that you've grown up with or that you've lost connection with. It's a good time to become a pen pal or do that FaceTime bingo that we've been doing a lot of with our friends too, that FaceTime bingo every twice a week or whatnot. It helps keep you connected. It's fun and it gives you a reason to put makeup on.
I love that idea so much, Heather. You just gave me an idea. I wanted to offer the watchers something free. I'm gonna give them a free download of our family interview series. I mean, I've shared it with you before, how to create a legacy video for you and your family. I'm going to have Matt, if you're watching, I'm going to have, I'm going to create a / let's say / legacy video. We'll do that. So it's joeevangelisti.com / legacy video. Give Matt 5 or 6 minutes to upload that, but you guys will have an opportunity to go there and download our family legacy video. Guys, we talked about, this might run a minute or too long, but we talked about in the past, interviewing your relatives, right? Interviewing the mother-in-laws and the father-in-laws and the grandparents and the, aunts and uncles that are getting up there in age, because I look at it this way, 100 years ago, or can you imagine, for example, if today you had video of your great-great-grandfather?
It'd be pretty cool.
Even your grandfather, guys, I was born with no grandfather. Like I had one step grandfather, but I never had my legit blood grandfathers were never alive when I was born. Having a video of them telling me about themselves, telling me about their legacy, it is one of the most impactful things you could ever do. And Heather just gave me a great idea, which is why not do this via Zoom right now? Why not do it via, join.me or one of these things where you can literally record the interview. How impactful would that be to keep that video forever? So if you want that download, say me in the comments or give me an amen or something like that. I'd love to see you guys. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to share it with you, but I would love to see our listeners, go and do something impactful like that to really help them build legacy with all this wonderful downtime that we have right now. So any questions or thoughts, post them below in the comments. And if you want to hop on live, we have a minute or two. I know Heather would love to answer your questions live. It's so much more engaging and impactful when we can hop on video. For those of you that got a shower this morning and are capable of hopping on the video, we'd love to talk to you. So let us know if you want to be involved. Heather, what did I miss? What questions did we not cover? What family stuff is going on that maybe we didn't talk about yet?
It's keeping up, I think, with, like, we keep talking about routines. That's not let everything go by the wayside either. When you wake up, you're still going to make your bed. You're still going to do those simple things. You're still going to clean your room every single day. Every day, one thing I've been finding is to get rid of some stuff, some toys, things like that. Declutter, pick 5 things that you don't want anymore, and that's donate them or save them in a box later, or just throw them out. If you're going to drive around with them in your trunk for like a month or so, like I normally do, before you donate them, just push them off to the side. But I think it's one thing actually I did want to say. Oakland's doing something I found really cool today, is that they said create a time capsule for what's going on, and do something like write a message down, write a letter to your future self, put that in there, like trace your hand and put a copy of your hand that you traced in there, put an artifact, one of the things that you like that's in there. But I think it would be cool to do that actually. And I think it's a very neat idea. To create that. Now you don't have to bury it. You can just keep it somewhere safe in the home, and then not open it for a while, because I think people, when you move, won't appreciate you going back later on in life and digging up their yard to find your time capsule.
I think that's a kick-ass idea. I'm going to actually suggest it to the fam today. We'll take a vote on it. I think it's cool. Especially for those of you, I mean, I have a 7 and 10-year-old. I know your kids are roughly the same age.
Yeah.
I think it'd be cool to be able to just pull that thing up in 10 years,
Mm-hmm.
when they're going off to college.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you bury it or not, I think burying it might be pretty cool. The only problem with burying it is I don't live anywhere for more than 2 years at a time. So I have to go bury it at my grandparents' house or something, or their grandparents' house rather. But I love the idea. I think it's highly interactive and it can be super cool for them to dig up when they go to school, right?
Yeah, it's a great idea. I love it. Oakland's just good. I think every town's doing a great thing. They're doing their live dance videos every single afternoon, and they're just, posting them on there. But I think with the touching on the family and getting to know your family is getting the little ones involved too, the nieces and the nephews, interviewing other nieces and nephews, and keeping that going as well, and hearing their little voices. I shared a video that I had of the girls when my niece and my daughter, when they were 3 years old. And I shared that to my timeline the other day. And it's just hearing their tiny little voices again. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe how little they were. And I can't believe I'm surviving all this. But it's more so just keep laughing. Honestly, it's the best remedy for everything. Shake it off, laugh. I've been using that reset, that 10-second count backwards from 10 to reset if people are getting frustrated, especially the little ones with their work. But it's just, you got to have fun no matter what you do in life, and you got to whistle while you work. And it's that mindset of I have to. It's more like I get to.
Yeah.
I don't have to be in these walls, and I don't have to deal with all this. I get to, I get to spend this time with them. I get to know them more. Then that in turn turns into I want to, and it's pretty precious. It's a good time to be around, actually.
Love it. Love it. Cool. Well, I want to be respectful of your time. I know you have a lot to do today. You got a lot of moving pieces in that real estate business, and you got to make some calls. So I appreciate you being on here, folks. If you're watching this again, all we hope is that you share it with a friend. Like if you have someone that you think that this message could be good for, or you want to interact with them, just please share it with them. Message, send it carrier pigeon, send it live, share it on your wall, whatever you got to do. That's why we're out here doing this for you guys. So I appreciate you, Heather, for being on the call today. And one last thing, guys, tomorrow, we're doing these every day at 8 a.m. live. Today it's 10 because we had some technical problems. But tomorrow morning, I have a good friend of mine. He's actually my stepbrother, who is a athletic trainer. And he's going to talk fitness, guys. Remember, we talked faith, family, fitness, friends, and finances. Tomorrow, we're going to talk fitness, some stuff you can do at home to keep yourself in good shape so you don't put on that COVID-20. And make sure that you get out of this thing and you're feeling good about yourself. So once again, Heather Morris, thanks for joining us today. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. It was fun.
It was. I'll talk to you soon.
See you guys.